Guys, I think I might have just stumbled upon the biggest 1.2 lore drop, and Hoyoverse has been dangling it in front of our eyes this entire time with little snippets from the trailers, as well as in-game cutscenes, and with some of the character lore. So let me explain what I'm talking about. I believe that Dan Heng, Blade, and Imbibitor Lunae are all the same person. And follow me on this one, guys. Follow me on this one. Okay, so we know from the Twitter picture that Imbibitor Lunae is a Videotora, okay? And Videotoras are long-life species that are able to reincarnate. We know this confirmed as well from Bailu's first appearance in the story. So listen to what Bailu says. This voice line in particular is very important.
Welcome to the Xian Show, my short-lived outsider friends. Appearances can be deceiving here. The Videotora race is self-reincarnating. No mama dad required.
So, Bailu is also part of the Videotora race, and they are a long-life species able to reincarnate themselves, okay? Just put that in your pocket and, keep that little nugget to yourselves for a little while. We also know that Dan Heng cannot return to where he's from, and we learn about that in this voice line right here.
I come from an alliance and was born on a grand and beautiful ship that I barely had the chance to see. I can never return.
Dan Heng, born on a grand and beautiful ship. What is the Xianzhao Lao Fu but a grand and beautiful ship? I know you guys have all heard the rumors about 5-star Dan Heng for a while now. It was essentially confirmed when the Twitter post did drop with Imbibitor Lunae, and now we can kind of tie all that together. Plus, we can retroactively go back to some of these cutscenes and trailers, and I think I can give you guys a change of perspective that will help you see what I'm talking about. So we know that Dan Heng was born on a beautiful ship that he cannot return to. We also know this from his voice line about knowledge.
Once there are sufficient records in the databank, the flow of individuals will link together seemingly independent events.
The flow of individuals, typically referring to, different people, different instances, individual, singular instances, will link together seemingly independent events. These events being Dan Heng, Lunae, and Blade along different timelines, if you will, upon different experiences. They will all be linked together. This might still seem far-fetched to you guys, but let me give you guys some more evidence here. If we go to the Nightmare trailer, listen to what happens in this trailer. Okay, if you guys remember this trailer came out 10 months ago, but this was also one of our first introductions to Blade. Pay attention to the wording here. Pay attention to the wording.
Of 5 people, 3 must pay a price. You are not one of them, Jin Yuan.
But who is? Who is one of them? Also, does that domain remind you of anybody?
You are one of them.
So Blade says, you are one of them. 3 people must pay a price. You will see that 3 is brought up pretty often. 3 people. My presumption is those 3 people include Blade, Dan Heng, and Lunae, who are essentially all the exact same person. So we know that Blade is running from something. He can't return home wherever that is, even though we assume that where that is could be the Xianzhao Lao Fu, since we know it's a grand and glorious ship. But he's nervous. We know he's running. Blade is presumably the person or the thing that he's running from. So, this carries on, and listen to what he says next.
The Xianzhou is in danger. This man, he...
How does Dan Heng, who doesn't know where he's from, know that the Xianzhou the Luofu is in danger. It's because he is linked to the same consciousness as Blade, who is headed there, / maybe already there at this point, we don't really know, and Lunae, who we haven't met in game yet, which, presumably we'll be meeting in 1.2, and who I assume is still there. Now that we've got all that stuff out of the way, I want you guys to listen to the voice lines in the Even Immortality Ends trailer. Listen to everything that they say. And I don't think it's uncommon for us to listen to these trailers and just presume that they are talking to us, aka the main character being the trailblazer in this game. But I want you guys to listen to this and pretend that they are speaking not to the trailblaze, but to Dan Heng. There's very interesting voice lines here. We start off with
The rules of
Kafka.
this game are like reality. We all think we have infinite possibilities, but when you really analyze it, every question and answer is constrained by previous choices.
Infinite possibilities. They can reincarnate themselves. The Videodora, aka Lunae, have infinite possibilities, but it is actually constrained by previous choices, aka previous iterations of yourself. One more time. Blade, Dan Heng, Lunae, all the same person. Let's jump forward to where they show Blade right here. And again, pretend Blade is speaking to Dan Heng specifically.
You think another name and face can blot out the sin of your past?
Another name and face. Because Lunae has, reincarnated as Dan Heng. A new name and face. Okay, so, again, Blade is after, presumably Dan Heng, from that nightmare, and it seems that that could be our link, specifically between Lunae and Dan Heng, a new name and face. Now it goes on, and actually we see Lunae right here, and listen to what they have to say.
Release your full potential. The power you carry is the key to opening a way through to the Ambrosial Arbor. As coming here triggered your memory. What happens next is in your hands.
Typically, we would assume that that's talking to the person playing the game, aka the main character, aka the trailblaze in this story. But it's actually talking to Dan Heng. Has coming here triggered your past memories? Because again, they are iterations of the exact same person. Dan Heng has the key and has the power to unleash the full potential to get into the Ambrosial Arbor, and I assume controls some sort of power that can shift the balance of power, shift the outcome of what is going to happen next. But again, it doesn't end there. The 3 is about to come right back up again.
You, and you.
You, and you. Lunae, Blade, Dan Heng.
All 3 of you are staying right here.
And while he's saying that, Blade is walking forward to, this is either Lunae or Dan Heng at this moment. I don't know if they, go back and forth between each of them or if they're, separate individuals during this. That will be, we'll find that out soon. But
The karma of past lives changed the world of the present.
the karma of past lives, again, continuing this theory that they could all be the same person on different timelines. And this is the most interesting part right here.
Suffer, crumble, turn on one another, and destroy that which you love with your own hands.
Okay, this is interesting, and this is where I may have to introduce a bit of copium. Destroy that which you love with your own hands. I think she's saying with your own halves, meaning that they are 2 of the same. Okay, again, reiterating this theory that Dan Heng, Lunae, Blade, and I assume it's going to be Lunae and Dan Heng against Blade, 2 halves of the same whole. That is a little bit up in the air, but I think that this all goes together. I'm going to jump from this video to the Star Rail live stream. Okay, Listen to what Blade's VA says right here.
Astral Express crew.
Dan Heng's journey has been longer than most could imagine.
Care to elaborate, Damon?
I didn't say anything.
So they're teasing the fact that Dan Heng has had this long journey. Maybe not as Dan Heng, but the reason that Blade knows that is because, again, a shared consciousness. And that's why they're teasing. And then even watch how Albert reacts.
Ah, come on, guys.
Don't spill the beans. Don't spill the beans.
Editors, cut that bit out.
Editors, cut that bit out. They've been teasing us this whole time. And then the next timestamp, we learn about how Blade is kind of operating right here.
For you. Whenever Blade gets scary, it's the Mara flaring up.
Isn't he always
So we know that he's
scary?
Mara struck from this.
He usually does what I tell him.
I should probably unpack that a little. Blade relies on Kafka's spirit whisper to suppress the Mara inside him.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. You know, most of the time, Bladey's a nice, quiet boy.
Okay, so Kafka, remember, Ilios is the one kind of pulling the strings for the Stellaron Hunters. So Ilios was able to pull them together because Blade has this issue with, you know, his Mara flaring up more or less, and Kafka can help keep that in check. Now we're going to jump forward just a little bit more right here.
It's strange that a lone wolf like him would want to team up with the Stellaron Hunters. Unless Kafka's spirit whispered him into it.
Kafka was more of a go-between. The real reason Blade joined was because Elio promised him the outcome he desired.
What outcome might Blade desire? Well, if we go back to Twitter and see the official Twitter post on it, when will death come for me? My patience is wearing thin. Blade, wants to cease to exist. My overarching theory on this is that Blade cannot cease to exist unless the other reincarnations of himself, being Lunae and Dan Heng, also cease to exist. They cannot lure out Lunae without Dan Heng also being present on the Law Fu, which was the whole reason that Kafka came onto the Astral Express, told them about this Stellaron crisis going on the Law Fu. In order to get the Astral Express there, I assume there's some sort of conditions that must be met, including Dan Heng and Blade, 2 iterations of Lunae to bring out Lunae. I assume that's what this is all building towards in 1.2. And then I think Blade probably believes that all 3 of them have got to be eliminated at the same time on like some Demon Slayer type shit, if you guys watch Demon Slayer at all. And now that we've got all of that, let's watch the brand new trailer, and you guys tell me how this lands for you now that we've kind of discussed all of that, okay? Pretend that this is Blade trying to get to the ultimate fate of getting Dan Heng and or / Lunae at the same place at the same time, and what his objective is. Dead or alive.
My sword will be the last thing you see.
Also, such a good trailer, by the way.
They declare me guilty. Yet their sin is greater.
Blade has been declared guilty. The evil party, if you will. The yin versus the yang. The other one being Lunae / Dan Heng.
They've fallen too far for their lofty Xianzhou ships.
And while Blade is having this revelation, he's kind of on this little like mini rampage. What happens next? He sees Lunae in the midst of being stabbed by Dan Heng. They're the same person. Now, the two halves, Blade, Dan Heng, clashing against one another.
My vengeance will pursue you.
Super good trailer, by the way. Super good trailer. Okay. My last little speculation on this is that the two halves, Dan Heng and Blade, I think that because we know that these long life species become Mara-struck and essentially or presumably evil, maybe we are seeing the split, kind of like the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other, where, you know, maybe Blade wanted to eliminate these long life species that are part of the Lawfu, but the reason that they have fallen so far to protect, you know, their ships is because that's part of the ships. The Vidyadhara are part of the species that live there, and maybe half of them thought, hey, we need to eliminate this is an issue, and the other half said, these are good people, they can't help it, and now we're clashing and we have controversy. W or L theory, chat. W or L theory.